Okay, so we are here in my buddy Mark's garage. He's actually back there working on his own Evo 10, and we are about to install our brand new Fortune Auto 510s with Swift springs. This is a pretty straightforward install, like really straightforward. We're basically just going to yank out the stock struts, measure our new coilovers to make sure that dimensions are roughly similar as far as ride height's concerned. We're going to adjust preload on the new coilovers, and then we're just going to put them in. At that point, we're going to drop the car, make sure that our ride height is where we want it. Might have to jack it back up and adjust the ride height a couple of times to make sure everything's dialed in. And then we'll pretty much be good to go. Obviously, if you ever install any kind of suspension adjustment, you're probably going to need to get a alignment to make sure that everything is all to spec after you've installed it. But for right now, we're just going to install these coils just so that we can have them in. Okay, so what we're doing right now is adjusting preload on the spring. Right now the spring length is 7 inches. This is a 7-inch spring, so it's not compressed at all. What we want to do is put about a 1/4 inch of preload on it, which is basically just compressing the spring so that when we measure it, it's 6 3/4 inches rather than 7. So we're going to do that with the spanner. So this is like a luggage scale, so you just hang stuff off of it and it tells you basically how much it weighs. So I'm going to weigh my front stock strut and spring setup and then compare it to a Fortune Auto. Like almost 10 pounds exactly lighter than the stock strut and spring. So that's fantastic. That means in the front we're saving 20 pounds just in suspension weight. Okay, so this is obviously way too much fender gap, so I'm gonna jack the car back up and shorten up the ride height and get it a little bit more dialed in. Hey, so day 2, as you can probably tell, we went home last night because we got tired. But the fronts are pretty much level. They're right about, the fender is right about 25.5 inches off the ground. There's a decent little bit of wheel gap. I think you can probably fit a shoe in there. Yeah, you can fit a shoe in there. So according to the Mighty Car Mods test, that fails the shoe test, I guess. But that's where I wanted it about. It should settle maybe a 1/4 inch. Now we're going to measure the backs and start doing the rear suspension. That should be a little bit easier. You don't have to mess around with camber plates or anything like that. Yeah, so let's get to it. So the really neat thing about particularly the 510s, they're 24-way, 24 clicks of either stiffening or softening. So S standing for soften, H standing for harden, I assume. Yeah, there's no other way that could be interpreted, right? So now I'm going full hard.
You never go full hard then.
Never go full hard. So now I just count back. I know it's 24 clicks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now I'm right in the middle, which is how I'm setting everything. So we got the rears on the scale, 9.1 pounds. Not too shabby, very light. Oh, 11.2, which is 4 pounds in the rear and about 20 pounds in the front. So right about like an inch and a half, inch and a third of wheel gap between the fender and the top of the tire, which is like right where I wanted actually. It looks pretty good. So Mark, my Evo buddy, Mark, he is very kindly helping me align Lana using quick trick alignment tools. So right now we're starting off with camber, which is a great place to start on an alignment. And we're gonna do right about 2 degrees of camber up front, of negative camber, which should give us some nice contact patches when we go to take corners hard at the track or something like that, and we'll go from there. At least as far as camber is concerned, we are 2.1 in the front, and then we are 1.2 in the back.
Situation update. We have finished bent alignment. I like it. I can really feel that rotation of the rear. I think when you go to the actual track, it'll be prime.
We're up here on these kind of mountain roads here in Virginia that I've driven a bunch of times in the Evo, but this is my first time driving them with the 510s, and it is completely a different experience. The car is so composed. It's faster than I am, for sure. It's amazing what just having a good suspension on a car can do for the overall feel of the package. The 510s feel crazy composed even on rough roads that aren't racetracks. As far as shock adjustment, I have these set right in the middle at 12 clicks out of 24. It seems to be a really, really good place to have this car set up for street driving. Obviously, we're gonna have to get this car onto the track in order to see what these coilovers are really capable of and what they were really built for. But for right now, man, I am just over the moon. I am so delighted with how fantastic these Fortune Autos feel. So as ever, a huge thank you to Fortune Auto for making this happen, and thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the install and the final results, and look for more Evo content in the future, because now I sure do feel like driving this car more often.